and that's where I load up my podcast. Now, this comes from Kurt Hudson, Florida, who says, oh, I love this. He says, in your last podcast, you mentioned you were going to do a show on helping children find their creativity. I wanted to let you know about my 9-year-old daughter, Selena Schulz, who is an author and entrepreneur. She has written a book about helping shelter animals and just put a song up on iTunes and Amazon. She donates a portion of the proceeds from the sales of both the local animal organizations, $2,000 so far. I believe Selena's creativity stems in part from her love of reading. My wife is a public school teacher, and she has always said the one thing parents can do to ignite creativity and critical thinking is to ensure reading is an active part of a family's daily routine at home. Do you find that creative people like yourself had a childhood that put a focus on reading, and did you do that as a parent? Wow. First and foremost, Kirk, congratulations on how you are instilling this creativity and providing a release, an expression of that in your daughter, Selena. 9 years old, she's an author and entrepreneur. Over $2,000, proceeds from the sales of her book and song on iTunes and Amazon. What a cool deal. I love those kind of stories. One of the things that we ought to do a theme of is just teenager or younger entrepreneurs. My gosh, I got a slew of grandkids I could have on here with the things that they're doing. I mean, we expose them to all kinds of ideas. They've got some really cool things in the works. But this is a great example. Now, do I find that creative people had a childhood that put a focus on reading? And did I as a parent? Oh, yes. Now, I grew up in a home. I mean, I attribute a whole lot of my success to reading. I grew up in a home where we did not have TV or radio. Now, we were poor farmers, but part of that had to do with the fact that we came from Amish background as well. So TV was a big, big taboo. You would never have that idolatrous thing in your house. So we did not have that. We didn't have a radio in the house as well. We had a radio ultimately in the barn because my dad wanted to listen to weather reports because we were farmers. So he justified it because of that. But anyway, in the house, what are we going to do for entertainment? I was an early reader, and I was a voracious reader, always have been. I mean, last year I read 74 books. I know that's probably more than most of you think about, but I love reading. And yes, that has opened the door to a whole lot of creativity. Did we do that with our children? Absolutely. Now, there were years. Now, we had a TV that was in a closet, and when we wanted to put in a movie, we would bring it out. But our children never grew up with just open access to TV, where they would just sit there and spend hours. And my grandchildren don't either. None of my grandchildren are being raised in homes with cable access or dish access or anything at all. None. Now, you may think, wow, that's kind of odd in this kind of environment. Well, it's odd, and that's why they're all readers and entrepreneurs, just like Selena. Yes, absolutely. I think it is amazingly important. Hey, Kirk, I'm going to send you a copy of Wisdom Meets Passion. That is a story. Well, it's not a story. It's a book like I write on how to find your wisdom and passion. But I wrote it with my son, Jared. Now, Jared, interestingly enough, is not a good reader, never was. Very dyslexic, ADHD. Reading is very difficult for him. So he's not a reader. So we helped him learn in ways that were appropriate for him. So a lot of that was audio learning, experiential learning, and he still learns in that way. And we wrote that book together to give you a lot of insight how even in having a child that wasn't a great reader, became a great writer, incidentally. I love what he's written in there. But I'll send you a copy of Wisdom Meets Passion. I'm sure you'll enjoy that as you continue to foster the reading, literary expertise, and creativity in your own children. Phil says, I'm trying to start an audit and risk consulting firm geared toward financial institutions.